So, I'm back.
Mistakes were definitely made.
Slim!
Y'all know what day it is? It's bath day.
Hey everybody, what is going on? I am back, finally trying to get back to regular uploads. So much has gone on. I figured on top of the topics I'm going to talk about with this video, I'll start off with an explanation of where I've been, what's been going on. That way you kind of know what I'm trying to do with the channel right now. So where have I been and what have I been doing? Well, I've basically just been extremely busy. Right before the hiatus from the channel, Nathan and I had just launched Above Average Customs. That took off. We had a bunch of orders right away. That pretty much took a lot of our time getting things done with the business side of things, as well as fulfilling customer orders. So I didn't have a lot of time to really do a lot of videos. And then COVID happened, and basically PC parts went through the roof, and nothing became affordable, and nobody wanted to buy PCs. The business is still going, but it's pretty much came to a halt since COVID. PC prices are through the roof. We can't offer affordable building when we can't even hardly afford to build PCs ourselves. That happened. So what ended up happening? I ended up taking a part-time job, and that took a lot of my time. That took the time that I was using to build PCs and ship off orders. I went to working, so I was doing that on top of my QA contracts, which finally started coming back through, but even that slowed down because of COVID. So basically everything in my life got extraordinarily hectic, and it seemed like every time I would get on a path to restart the channel and get back to regular uploads, things just fell apart. We had a death in the family. I myself got COVID. My whole family did. And it seemed like every time I tried to do a video and get a video uploaded, something would happen. Life happened, and I would get too busy to finish the video, and by the time I almost finished it, there was 500 videos just like it, and I was too late, and I knew where that was going to put me in the algorithm, and I just kind of felt defeated because I hadn't been able to upload regularly. And I'd actually garnered quite a bit of attention over on Twitter with little short videos that I was doing over on there. I was actually getting way more views on the little bitty videos that I was doing talking to the camera like this than I was getting on any of my videos that I get on the channel. So I was feeling very discouraged and not really wanting to upload something just to upload something. I tried streaming a couple times. That always fell apart. I can never somehow get my streams to work properly. I always run into some kind of issues, and that's discouraging. Then one thing I was wanting to do to relaunch the channel was a podcast. I really wanted to get some guests. I've got some guys I've been talking to over on Twitter. We've been really talking about getting together for a podcast, but things just never seem to work out. I've got a lot of guys I talk to that are overseas. Our time zones are different, and I'm still working my part-time job, so it's very difficult to do. I've got 3 kids and a wife. I manage a family, so it's definitely there. It's just been difficult. And today was one of those days I was trying to get a podcast together, and it just didn't work out. So I decided to do this. I'll just start doing my Twitter videos, but in longer format here on YouTube, where I can actually explain things a little bit more, and maybe that will do good. If they're getting good views over on Twitter, maybe they'll get good views over here. But that's something I can do regularly and doesn't require a whole lot of work on top of my already busy schedule. So while the content that you're used to on this channel is going to continue, I'm going to continue to go back to that formula and make that kind of content as well. While that content might be more slowly coming out, this will at least give me something to do as far as keeping my channel active and keeping you guys interested. So with that being said, I want to talk about some of the topics that I wanted to discuss in this video, and I wanted to do this with the podcast, but it didn't work out, so I'm just going to give my thoughts on these topics. First one being the Xbox Series S is holding back the Series X. Now, I tried to do a little video explaining this on Twitter yesterday, but Twitter would not let me upload, so I'm going to do it'd probably be about the same amount of time, but a little bit more elaborate explanation. Hopefully I don't leave anything out. Now, there was an article that was posted that a lot of people didn't read. They read the headline, but they did not actually read the article. And that was discussing is the Xbox Series S holding back the Series X? And it was discussing, well, when you have two systems, one's running at lower resources, yeah, that could be an issue because you'd have to factor in the lowest common denominator being the lower RAM on the Series S. But then he goes on to explain, but that's not an issue because games scale and the game is scaled based on the box. He goes on to explain it, and none of these people actually read what he explained, so I'm going to explain it. No, the Series S is not holding back the Series X. In no way, shape, or form is the Series S holding back the Series X. It is a locked spec box. It is meant to render at 1080p. The games that are going on it are meant to render around 1080p. So, no, it's using smaller assets. It's not even using the same asset packages that the Series X is using because it's not meant to render at 4K. As Microsoft has went on to explain, it saves you on storage space and it saves you on the amount of RAM that you need. So no, the lower amount of RAM isn't an issue. I've debunked this whole holding back thing like a year ago when I showed Bright Memory running on a 15-year-old PC with 2.5 gigs of workstation. It's a workstation card. It was GDDR4. It was an old Quadro 5000. So I've debunked it already. Games scale easily. The article, the developer talking about it even said no, they scale. We've had multiple developers come out and say how beautiful the Series S is, how amazing it is that it runs these games as good as it does because it's only running at 1080p. But it's got the same CPU and it's got the same GPU. So chill out. The lower RAM is not going to cause anything to hold back the Series X. That lower bit of video memory, not going to be an issue. The amount of memory would only be an issue if the Series S was actually meant to run at 4K and it was getting those same assets and asset packages that the Series X is getting, and it was just running at trying to push everything at the same resolution that the Series X is running everything, just with the lower memory. That's when it would be an issue. But that's not how things work. Saying that the Series S is holding back the Series X is like saying because the GTX 1660 exists that the RTX 3090 is held back. That's not how things work. Yes, if you were to take a computer with the RTX 3090 in it, max out all your settings on a game, run it just balls to the wall at those settings with the 3090, then pull that 3090 out, throw the 1660 in, and make sure all those settings aren't changed, make sure it's still running the same settings, that's when your memory is going to be an issue. But if you were to take the 1660, put it in there, and drop the settings down to 1080p and high or very high, take it down a little bit like you're doing with the Series S profiles, the memory is not going to be an issue because it's not trying to run all that heavy shit that you were running with the 3090. And kind of leapfrogging into the next topic in that same circle of people talking about the lack of power and how things are being held back with the new game, The Medium, that just came out. And the argument being used here is that it's rendering at a lower resolution, about half the resolution, which is funny because the same people that are talking about it and using analogies aren't understanding their analogies. One was, well, look how well GoldenEye runs. Look how good GoldenEye runs when it's using split screen. Look at the resolution GoldenEye is running in when it was in split screen. When you use split screen, when you're running multiple instances of the same game, you're going to be cutting that resolution. That's how it works. You're not going to have, well, you physically can't have two 1080p screens on one 1080p screen or two 4K displays on a 4K TV. That's not how split screen works. When you're running a game split screen, it makes the different displays small. Come on, that's not... For example, if you didn't know, I do know, GoldenEye, in the high def pack on GoldenEye is 240i, so that when you're in split screen, it's 240i. That's how low the resolution is. So, and it's going to be the same with anything, no matter what. Next time a PS5 game comes out and has split screen in it, you're going to see the resolution is not going to be 4K or even probably full 1080p. It's not. So stop using the split screen resolution as a lack of power narrative because it doesn't make any sense. Anybody that knows anything about game development and knows how split screen works knows that the resolution goes with, it's a cost. So it happened. Moving on to $70 games. This is a hot topic, especially after the Xbox Live Gold debacle. So, for clarification on where I'm going with this, if you didn't already know, Xbox Live Gold, they were going to be increasing their price to $120 a year. And everybody, including myself, said that's bullshit. Don't do that. That's stupid. They got the message and they said, never mind, we're not going to do that. Not only did they revert their decision, though, they actually went back and said free-to-play games will now no longer have that gold paywall. So that's awesome. Free-to-play games are officially free-to-play over on Xbox. Now, what does that have to do with the price of $70 games? Well, as I'm sure most of you have heard, a bunch of the first-party Sony games that are coming out for PlayStation 5 all have been priced at $70. So far, we've not seen any first-party Xbox games be $70. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen. All I'm saying is if it does happen, I'm going to say the same thing I'm saying with it happening with third-party and with it happening with the Sony games. It's bullshit. Be against this. If enough people are against it, like with the Xbox thing, it will hopefully get fixed. That's one thing I don't see a lot of people doing is when they're unhappy about something, a lot of people don't protest, or one side will protest and one side won't, and nothing changes. But when you see what just happened, Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie, look what happened. Xbox Live Gold, look what happened. When you protest, things happen. And I want to explain to you why you should protest $70 games. A lot of the cost of a game goes into manufacturing. That's part of that $60 or $70. That's part of that cost, manufacturing. So why are we still paying even $60 for games when back in 2018, over 83% of game sales were digital? There was no physical purchase. So a lot of games aren't being bought physically. So they're not spending as much on manufacturing. You know they're not. I know for a fact that where they were making games back in 2001, they made a lot more games at that time than they're making now physical copies. Guaranteed. Because, let's face it, most game sales are digital. They see this, they know the statistics, especially now with COVID. I guarantee you since COVID, it's been in the far, 90s. 97, 98% are probably digital. So why are we actually paying more? And I see a lot of people were using the argument, well, look at the games back when the Nintendo 64, look at how much Nintendo 64 games cost, and Super Nintendo games when they came out. Yeah, those were flash memory cards. That's why Switch games cost so much. They cost a lot to make. That's why Nintendo gets away with charging so much for their games, because a lot of them have physical copies, and they have to charge a set amount. They can't charge less for the digital, really. I mean, they probably could, but it's Nintendo. You know they won't. So that's why they cost so much, though, because they cost so much more to manufacture. Nintendo 64 cards cost a lot to manufacture. So we're not even remotely paying that now. Even for the physical games that do exist, we're paying a fraction of what that is with the disc costs. And back in the day, you got more in the box. You got little instruction booklets. You actually got things for when you open the box, there was more in there than just the game. Now you open it up, you get a disc. You don't even get the little booklet in there anymore. They've gotten that cheap, yet we're paying more for games. It doesn't make any sense, and you should be against it. And lastly, the Woolly Gaming situation. I'm sure some of you have heard about the little confrontation I had on Twitter a while ago. I wasn't going to talk about it, but I figure since I'm doing a video like this, fuck it, I'm going to talk about it. I was on a podcast a few weeks ago. I think it was Any Given Sunday was the podcast. We discussed it on there a little bit. I'll briefly talk about it on here. But essentially, he came on my stuff, wanted to try to disrespect me because I outsmarted him multiple times before. I've made him look stupid a couple times. I don't know if he's felt hurt about that. So he kept following me. I had to mute him. Then finally, he came on my post and was just disrespecting me out of nowhere. I hadn't even spoken to this guy. I don't know if he felt like he needed to try to prove he was smarter than me to maybe gain a foothold in the PlayStation community or something along those lines. I debunked a lot of stuff those guys had said. So maybe I painted a target on my back, and that's what he was aiming for, was to try to finally put me down or something, because I'd been making them all look stupid for so long over there. But I don't know. He felt that he needed to come and just disrespect me blatantly, like we had some massive beef. and disrespect me on a personal level, not about video games. So it kind of threw me for a little bit, and I decided, you know what, those YouTube beefs, they're making quite a bit of money, so maybe I should just make the offer. I got some contacts. I can set up an exhibition sparring match. We'll have a live streamed YouTube sparring match at the end of a card that's already going on, and I'll set up some prize money. We'll donate some stuff to charity. Let's make this a thing. And he wanted nothing to do with it. He played victim and acted like I threatened to go to his house and beat him up in a back alley. It wasn't anything of the sort. I challenged him to a gentleman's duel. Thought we could both make some money. Thought we could raise some money for charity. And he turned me down. He wanted nothing to do with it. Said his girlfriend wouldn't let him. His girlfriend would leave him if he got beat up. So it is what it is. I thought I would just address it on here. And yeah, that's what I'm going to end today's video with. I will probably be doing another video tomorrow if I can knock out these ones real quick. And while I'm doing these videos, I can work on my longer ones to maybe have one of those out a week and a couple of these out each week. Maybe that would be a better schedule. Try to get more regular on here. But thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. See you guys next time. Hey guys, hope you enjoyed the video. If you like it, please do us a favor and mash that thumbs up button. Unless, of course, you're one of the easily offended snowflakes and you've already mashed that dislike button. I know you did. Anyway, check out some of our stuff over on the left. Check out some of our links down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time.